You are listening to Something Rather Than Nothing. Creator and host, Ken Vellante. Editor and producer, Peter Bauer.
Oh, anyways, at the end of it, he already told me he willed me in for the collection.
Oh, wow.
So there's this open-ended wonderfulness, like where like I may be like the CD compendium guy, maybe, or person in North America, and I'm on the cusp of it, but I know I have a largesse of like thousands of Doom CDs from every fucking country.
Ooh.
Wow.
So we're simpatico on that. And the other thing is, since I haven't listened to your singing, as of beginning of November, I've just been listening to complete album. So it's going to be complete album time, I think.
Ooh, yeah.
Amazing.
We have.
This is Jenny.
Hi, Jenny.
I started buying some vinyl record. I mean, I've always been buying vinyl, but I got rid of. I guess we still have all the CDs I kept. I'm looking at them off to the side.
We have cassette. We're back to cassettes.
Yeah, we
too.
have cassettes, and all the CDs I kept are mostly just because they're like personal friends or like people we played with. But I think for the most part, I switched to like, you know, I'm streaming and I have vinyl and we have cassettes. Cassettes are making a little bit of a comeback. But that's cool.
Definitely a big comeback.
There's a lot of cassettes, not only like in metal, but just like in general in Oregon. I was astounded when I came out here, and it hasn't slowed down. I've been out here for about 14 years, and I'm like, whoa.
What part of Oregon are you in?
So we're in Albany, Oregon, 15 minutes, 20 minutes away from south of Salem, and about
an hour from Portland.
About an hour from Portland, but we're up in Portland like once or twice a week still. So like even though we're super busy.
Yeah.
My mom used to live in Salem, and his brother just moved to
Eugene.
I almost said Medford. Eugene.
Yeah.
Very
Or they're
cool.
just outside or something like that.
You know the areas.
Yeah. And we have lots of like Portland's obviously we're there. We have lots of friends there. And
Yeah. For skateboarding, it's sort of a mecca. So I go
for sure
a couple times a year for work stuff.
He was there for some like Mountain Dew. I don't know, some skate contest.
Some dumb event. But like, you know, when we're actually like street skating and they're like notorious for the concrete parks and stuff, that it's kind of
Burnside.
There's Burnside's the first DIY one under the bridge there. And but then up to Orcas Island, there's like a loop that's kind of like a sacred road trip loop in skateboarding that you get in a van and a bunch of stinky people and make that loop and stay in bad hotels and it's in camp and it's the best. So I love it up there.
I want to launch in right on this because I had a major question I was talking about. And so everybody, this is Something Rather Than Nothing podcast. Super excited. Don't know how to quickly categorize, but the creators of the Art Bar magazine and Sarah Ingram, and I only could see in social media and stuff, is that Ira Curb Killer, like that, like a Curb Killer or Ira? How do you go by?
Ira. Curb Killer is a joke that got out of hand, and it's
I like the
identity that it's I don't know how I ended up where that whole thing is that's a whole, and also just full disclosure, my ADD is going to be a problem. I'm trying to rein it in. We're having a little late harvest right now. I'm trying to like just keep myself from going on tangents, but just Ira. It's the short answer.
All on the same page.
Okay.
Going into this, but I will direct it because as host of the show, I have a particular responsibility. I wanted to launch right from skateboarding, right? So I picked up on a vibe that I seen you both talk about with the magazine, and it's skateboarding, creativity, and I know in art and in expression, and I've seen other art magazines, other art explorations, like just really tap into that. And I see you doing that, and there's so much there. Tell us about Art Bar, which brought Jenny and I over to you, asking you about the magazine and, you know, the skateboarding arts that are in there. Tell us about it, because we'd love to hear just about Art Bar and your thinking behind it.
Well, I'll start with this. Like the Art Bar is born from Sarah and her she used to run a gallery and has been heavily involved in the like the street art community, and so this is conceived from, like, this doesn't exist without Sarah, and she's the tip of the spear, and like I'm a part of the magazine in a supportive role, and we both, like, it is like a dream of ours, but it doesn't. It would not be as good as I think it is, and will grow to be without Sarah and her leadership and with her vision. And so I'm here, as a partner for sure, but like, but this, as far as why skateboarding is involved in this, and even the name I kind of stole from, there's a skate video that I love from the 2000s. It's called
Art Bars and Seagulls.
Art Bars and Seagulls. Its subtitles Art Bars and Seagulls or something like that. It's from a Foundation skate video, and it's kind of tongue in cheek and like making fun of the arts in some ways, and I love that. We actually we're looking for something symmetrical in the title that rolled that had art and bounced off it, and I love the tongue in cheek nature of that skate video. It's such a deep nerdy cut in skateboarding, but it is like that's where the title came from. Anyway, the window that I found art and filmmaking and photography through was skateboarding, and growing up as a skateboarder in the 90s. About the last 25 years of my life have been sort of obsessed skateboarder, and then you have growing up on videos like Video Days and Questionable, made by like Spike Jones, and then Jacob Rosenberg, and then you find photography, and then art is so synonymous. Skateboarding doesn't exist, especially street skateboarding doesn't get to the audience without some form, some medium that takes like artistic ability, and because otherwise you're just in an alley somewhere doing this thing that no one will ever see. Like, someone needs to document it, and then there's art for the boards. And so that's kind of my contribution to the magazine, because that's the way that I found and fell in love with art is through skateboarding. So it's kind of the only way I can be involved. Like the actual fine art world and the street art world, that's all Sarah, and she has these relationships she's developed over a lifetime, and but the guidance and the reason that the magazine is good is because of Sawa, for sure.
Well, let me ask you about that, and like, and I watching some of your video, Sarah, and like, again, describing the vibe of like creativity and like collective arts and culture. Even the feel of the magazine. Tell us about like creating a new magazine like right now and what you're looking to do it, because it obviously super appealed to Jenny and I once we touched it and saw it. But like, tell us about your ideas about your project in the magazine.
Well, we come from filmmaking and photography, but we also love all forms of art. So that's kind of like, that was one of the Art Bar kind of has multiple meanings, and one of them is like, if you were to go to a, like, it's not an alcohol reference, the Art Bar, but like if you were to go to a bar and they have different things on the menu, like we cover filmmakers, we cover photographers, we cover street art, contemporary art, we have some writers, like, so it's like all different kinds of art, but it kind of is meant to feel like a place. Like if you were to picture the Art Bar like in an alley that you would go to, and you go there after your day of painting or whatever your form of creating is, and you can sit in a room where you feel like these are my people and this is community, and talk about your work at the end of the day. Like, that's like, if you were to picture it as a place, that's the Art Bar. So it's like I feel like sometimes in art magazines, like photography is an afterthought or different, or it's like very pretentious or using a lot of jargon that we don't like personally relate to. So for us, the motivation of Art Bar was to talk about art with artists and like really get to know them as people and figure out what drives them to create and like what that process is like, and then also talk about their work and hopefully inspire other people to want to create art, because art should be accessible and not this like exclusive elitist thing. And so I think that was like our initial spark for starting it, and the kind of storytelling that we wanted to do with like different mediums of art.
It's awesome. Awesome variety. I have to interject here and just say that I'm going to take full credit for finding Art Bar Magazine.
Aww.
I am. It's true. We're
How'd you
obsessed
find
with
it?
Happenstance, luck.
Cool.
The stars aligned. I don't know. We're obsessed with printed material, magazines and zines and books, and
Comic books.
we collect all these things obsessively. Some, and so to stumble upon a new art magazine was just like the holy grail, almost, right? And quickly picked up on how accessible it was for anyone, which I appreciated it as well, because we get other magazines, and I know which ones you're talking about, that are just on a different level, and that's fine, but mostly I just flip through it, admittedly. So,
I tapped into the organizing, the arts organizing, the collectivism of like, one thing I like with this show.
Your podcast and magazine.
Well, like one of the things I like about this show is being able to pop into like how a culture feels like, and what I'm just like, not to put you in a representative space, but you putting this out and things are analog, and the pages can feel a certain way. We haven't got the second issue, but knowing that you're doing things like that at a time when like we live in the culture right now in Oregon where people of like a wide range of ages are buying cassettes and what might be CDs. And why am I buying an album? Yes, a Philip Glass album yesterday in this day and age. Well, it makes perfect sense to me, but like, people want these things, and no judgment, not even a qualitative judgment about like digital, because that's a big part of what excites me as well. But seeing that in the magazine, it's art, it's art manifest, and that's the piece that really dig. And I mentioned it to final piece about the personal connection. I mentioned it to my editor, Peter Bauer, who subscribed to it like immediately. So it's like that populist, like let it spread, like piece of the magazine that I think we connected with. So just wanted to like share that, I guess, right?
And you talked about the people going back to the analog, and from like conception to release, it was probably almost a year before we put out our first issue, and now obviously it's quarterly. But during that time, we were completely nerding out on, we got samples from multiple printers in multiple countries, ended up staying fairly local, but like feeling every paper, like how does it feel in your hands? How does it, all that stuff was super important to us as well.
And she says we, but like she, again, is finding all these facilities and all these printers and getting these samples. And I get to do the fun part where she has all these samples laid out, and we get to sit there and nerd out. So like, I take like I'm helping, but this is like Sarah's why it's as good as it is.
Well, it's a creative collaboration.
I mean, down to our dark room, like she built it. She built this dark room that, like, again, I don't even know if I helped with the dark room, but like printing, shooting analog, shooting film whenever we can, and printing that is something we both like love and care about. And sometimes we outsource that. And if not, Sarah's mixing those chemicals, Sarah's printing, like it's such a DIY. And that's something that we care about really, really deeply, both being like punks. And from skateboarding, you learn to pick up a camera and how to work that camera, how to edit, how to shoot a photo, how do you get it printed, how do you write an article now that explains what you just went through. And all that stuff comes from, I'm so sorry.
The DIY?
No,
probably wizardry.
I just lost a friend, Kevin Wilkins, who I just want to acknowledge real quick.
Yeah, please
to cancer.
do. Please do. Take your time.
And he's a writer that this is really fresh. I'm sorry.
No,
He's the first person who ever printed anything that I wrote, and we just lost him this last week, and I didn't even expect to talk about him, but all that comes from this process of doing these things yourself and supporting your community and finding strength in places where you feel vulnerable and expressing that, and I didn't expect to cry on the podcast, but Kevin Wilkins is a really beautiful person. We just lost a father and a husband and a great mentor to a generation of skateboarders. So sorry.
Yeah.
And a writer, and you guys are literature lovers. Maybe we should.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't expect it to go so. That just hit me right in the middle of that sentence. I didn't. Yeah, sorry.
Please, like in this space, one of the interesting pieces about like Jenny and I doing this together and sharing this too is like I'm a union organizer by trade, like all my hours. And when I'm not doing that, I felt that I didn't set out, but I ended up arts organizing like through the show, over 300 shows, like where I was talking about like tapping into like the vibe of your magazine, or like when I go to Providence, Rhode Island, I'm from Pawtucket, Rhode Island originally, and visiting out there and feeling the vibe and like understanding. I know Ira, the skateboard community, the closeness, like I feel it, like I get it right now, straight up. So don't worry about that. And that's the connection. And like for me, and seeing your work, like for me, it's not to be conceptual about it, but was tapping into like there's an openness of the collective spirit, because we saw in Bombay Beach the trailer that you had sent us, and it was in that short piece, it was all there, but it was like the power of art was so apparent in like the background relief, and not to give it away, but within the desert and what's around in the and the art was what was glorious, and it was so conspicuously glorious. I was like, holy shit, like fucking nailed it right there. And that's like the community. Like I come from like the city, and like when you see cities in areas kind of prop up and look different, there's something about that vitality.
It's art. Yeah. Art saves lives.
Yeah.
Art saves whole communities, right?
Art, like the community is a big aspect for it, and it does save lives. Like art is a form of therapy for so many people. We just interviewed this beautiful artist, like beautiful person, Carlos Ramirez, and he does like have some social commentary in his work, but he's like, for me, it's like when I make these paintings, it makes me feel better, because it's like it's a purge. So for so many people, art is therapy. And then we also like there's this common thread in so many of the things we end up covering of like mortality, because like we're doing a documentary about his friend Zane Timpson, who passed on, who was a skateboarder and an artist and a poet. And in Bombay Beach, I was doing that documentary just to kind of cover this artist town, and I ended up spending years there. And like a couple of the people who were main characters in the documentary passed away during that time. And so there's been this common thread of mortality in art, and art is a way of our work living on after we're gone, and like people being able to still appreciate something we made after we're gone. And that's always been kind of like at the backbone of some of it as well.
Yeah, just being aware of your own mortality. And I think, so Passing Through is a film, a documentary feature that Sarah made and directed. And we actually met and started dating while she was making that, and I ended up helping that, and then we ended up getting married, I think before the film was even finished.
Yeah, because right after we got married, it had its premiere.
Yeah. And so it's going to be going to streaming platforms shortly. It's kind of finished the festival run, and we'll be doing some like LA screenings hopefully very soon. But it's this really, really beautiful film, and it is about like, even before we lost the artists who passed during the course of the film. Sarah had mentioned this concept of like, we create art because we're aware of our own mortality. Like I think that that theme is so beautiful and just prolific.
One of my photo teachers was sorry. It was from I had this old photo teacher, Vicky Martin, and she said that in one of my photo classes when I was a kid, and she said human beings are the only species aware of their own mortality, and that's why we create art. And it's just stuck with me. And it's funny because I ran into her like decades later at an art show, and I told her like what an impact that made on me. And I told her she said that and she didn't remember saying that, but she was like, that sounds like something I would say. But I was like, that's been like the backbone of like pretty much like every project we've started.
Well, in philosophy too, like there's some like complete overlap because like for me, I'm a traditionalist in this and I've studied a ton of philosophy, but you know, like philosophy starts, at least in the Western tradition, with Plato, with Plato saying it's fucked up that Socrates was put to death by the state for like investigation. That's fucked up. And like he said about his whole intellectual project on like justice, like just society and all these kind of dialogues. And it's like, I see like Western philosophy set off like on an obsession with death. And I think even Plato said it's like something along the same lines, like, you know, like just basically philosophy proceeds from, you know, that knowledge of death, but not only that, knowledge of like deep wrong injustice to those close to you, like deal with that. So like, and all, you know, fucking art and all the different things. And like, even kind of like, the edge of skateboarding is like in that same like terrain. And I'm not, my two of my children are skateboarders and really vibe with this. So I get it through them. My skateboarding story is about 2 minutes. I had my skateboard. I fell backwards off of it. It went into the street and got run over by a tractor trailer. That was my story there. I'm living through my kids. I said, that's a warning from somebody bigger than me. I'll even try it now still, but
my skateboarding is longer than that. Mine's longer than that, but not much longer.
Did you have a skateboarding scare?
No, but I went with the skateboarding boys in high school.
Yes.
And so by default, I had to learn how to skateboard and keep up. Which I did.
Did you read in issue 1? It's funny because it's kind of different than the other stuff we put in there. But our friend, she has a meme account called Later Loser, and she did a modern day advice column in issue 1, and it's basically just about dating skaters.
I love it.
Yeah. So you'll relate to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's an incredible writer. Kat is insane, and
she's coming back. We didn't get it together in time for issue 2, which is for us in this timeline. We're getting our copies tomorrow, but I don't know when this podcast comes out, so it'll be out. She'll be back for issue 3 with her Later Loser advice column.
And I know you guys are in Oregon, so like we're like privileged to be able to travel for work quite a bit, and Powell's is like one of my favorite bookstores in the entire country, and I think issue 2 isn't in Powell's. Like it is potentially going to be in Powell's. By 3, it should be in there, and 3 is looking really special too. So
I'll bug the staff, their union staff. I'll try to.
And everyone listening, just email them and tell them to order our bar because it's a huge goal for us.
And a nice thing to be able to buy nice magazines because we view them as, particularly yours, as like very much an art piece, like so much of the time. And like we don't even have the first issue anymore because Jenny's son and partner visited, and we were like, oh my God, like you need to have, it needs to go up north.
I'll send a box.
We'll get you guys some.
One of my favorite artists, and this is like just for Jenny to kind of like talk about this super recent experience. And like, because I think we're talking about like art that and things that you see as sensitive as artists that like really make you feel a lot. And you're like, wow, like, I'm so glad to have seen that. And I just want to mention this is like, one of the things Jenny and I have been appreciative of, and we're not naive about this, like every town, every city has their problems and deep things, and we don't fetishize Portland, but there is something deep in the heart of Portland that we like, that's open and accepting. And I'm not saying it's perfect, but like that's what we like to tap into. But they had the book fair yesterday, and so I was caught up in a work meeting yesterday, and I was like, Jenny, I was like, Emma Ruth Rundle is going to be at the Portland Art Museum, and she's going to be next to this painting, and she's going to be reading her poetry. And I said, it starts at 2:00, and I'm not close by, and I got to finish doing worky. Can you please go? Can you please go?
But I was free.
So I want Jenny to tell us about this experience, because it was like a moving and cool thing. Jenny, can you tell us about the Emma Ruth Rundle book fair appearance yesterday?
I'll try to, because I'm still a little like, I don't know, starstruck, shell-shocked, smitten, all the things, right? So that was totally unexpected. I didn't know it was going on, admittedly, and Ken brought it up, kind of this last minute idea, and I was like, okay, I can do that. And I was just bopping around Portland, and I did some research yesterday morning and found out that the book fair had sold out. But I was like in the area, so I was just like walking around, deciding to see what I could see. I had her books under my arm, for that potentiality of getting an autograph, right? And I'm walking through these crowds of Portlanders, let's say, in the cultural district, taking it all in, and it's not feeling very good to me. There's this massive line coming out of the art museum where she's supposed to be. I'm like, I don't know. But I decided to go in. This is going to be long, I guess.
No, this is your piece.
Please.
I already
I'm a Ruth Rundle story. Like,
you can tell I don't get a whole lot of talking time.
Provide.
But, so we're members at the art museum, and we need to renew our membership anyway. So I'm like, I'm going to walk in there and just talk to them, and I'm going to renew our membership because I'm here. So, and I didn't think the museum was open. I thought it was just the book fair going on, and you had to be part of this book fest, not book fair, I guess. So I upped the membership, and they're like, yeah, so you want to visit today? I was like, well, yeah. So she's like, yeah, you can visit, you can sit in on any of the events. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I just started wandering around our favorite museum and took it in and figured out where she was going to be and sat down. I haven't seen her before in person. I haven't seen her live perform. Ken has, and I would love to, of course. She read, and what I'll say is she's incredibly talented, as I'm guessing you already know. But she became very emotional as she was reading. She read her own piece, and then she read a piece from a now deceased, murdered Palestinian poet. And in that, she got really emotional. And then she called out the Portland Book Fest because their only sponsor is Wells Fargo. And so she became more emotional and more moved, and started apologizing. And we're all like, no, again, don't apologize. We have an obligation, I think, as artists. And I'll just echo kind of what she was getting at. An obligation as artists at this time specifically to be vulnerable and emotional and do the things, like all the things, and speak up and be loud and make art.
100%.
Fuck yeah.
And that is emotional. Like, that makes me think of so many things. And that's been coming up a lot lately because there's a lot going on in the world right now. And so there's two kinds of art. All art is important, but there's two versions of it that are like the most important right now. And there's that like the quote, it's the artist's duty to depict the times we're living in and use our voices and be loud about it. And then there's also the art that like it's okay to still paint pretty things and give people a place of escapism. Like some people are shaming artists like, oh, you're just painting unicorns and there's like Gaza's genocide. And they're like, but I'm like, they're going through so much trauma too, that they're like, it just gives me comfort to paint this like Andrea Guzetta's, who's popping in my head, like an elephant mother, like holding her baby elephant. And that's like so many people related to that. It's so hard. Cause like, you know, so, but yeah, that like that story and that, and even like not even being expecting to get in, but seeing those things that affect you emotionally. I think that's like what I connect to most in art, is if like I see something or experience something and it makes you feel a certain way, like that is what it's all about. Like that's so powerful.
Yeah.
I had a similar story that you don't have to use. You can like start cut here. But I went, it was the same thing where I didn't think I was going to get in, and it affected me. Like I really emotionally, was this show a long time ago called Ashes and Snow. I was like, we thought it was like a Mother's Day or something. And I was with an ex. I was like, oh, we'll invite all our parents. We'll go to the show. I bought tickets.
You used to date before me?
No, a long time ago. I bought tickets for everyone. And then we get there and it's the closing day and there's a line around the block. And I know my dad, and like, I have a lot of the similar traits, like not good in like crowds, public space.
She does not like lines.
I knew.
I don't like crowds.
Yeah.
She doesn't like lines.
I knew he was not good. Like, I knew we couldn't have this group of 8 wait in this line for 2 hours. Like that wasn't going to happen. And I was like, oh, you know, and it was just stressful. And I was like, I don't know how we're even going to get in there. And I ended up just going to the guy at the back door and being like, look, like I have tickets, but like these guys aren't going to wait in that line. Like, is there any way like we can go in through the back? And I basically like paid him off to just let us in. And so we didn't even experience it the way you're supposed to. We went in through the back door instead of the front door. And then the work, like I was like, there's no way, you know, you don't think you're going to have an emotional response to the show under all of those conditions. And the first piece I saw, I just like started crying, and it just like kept getting like more and more and more. And it was just so beautiful that it was like affecting me on such a deep level. And then I could hear them in the background, like being like, is she okay? And it's like, yeah, she's okay. But I was just like bawling, not like just because it was so beautiful. Like things, sad things can make you emotional, but beautiful things can make you emotional. And I just remember going through that show, and after that in my head being like, that's what it's all about. Like, that's the kind of work I want to be a part of, is like, I want to make work that makes people feel something. And that was like, because of that moment.
And that's what good art does. I mean, and that's a subjective thing, right? Like we set out to like not do reviews specifically. Like it's not part of what we do. We don't review art. We just want to, demystify the process of becoming an artist and give you a window into someone's that artist's lived experience. And art is subjective, in the sense that like something that is profound to me, someone else may find derivative and flaccid, and that's fine. It's you're both right. It's like wine tasting, right? Like if you like it, it's good. And so if it speaks to you, then you're right. And I think that one of the fun parts of this process is to have, we don't have boundaries as far as like mediums and artists that we want to work with, or genres of art, like the
populist. It's populist in nature. It feels populist in nature, you know.
Yeah, I would not argue with that. I think that we want it to be accessible and I already said demystified, but like just to feel like part of what I love about what we're doing as someone who's riddled with ADD and unmedicated, is that I love that like the format of an interview will change, the style of art will change, the genre will change from article to article and from issue to issue, and that's been really fun to explore. And we have reoccurring themes certainly, but it's we kind of just don't have parents, and it's fun.
Yeah, sometimes I think like, oh, that's not how you're supposed to do something, and then I'm like, who cares? It's our magazine. We're gonna do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Like,
I got the guerrilla marketing for you too, and just I wanted to get out. This was the second thing I wanted to mention. So check this out. So I'm going into a period of years. First of all, understand that I've been reading comics since barely out of diapers, and I'm 53. So I'm saturated in the stuff. Now I'm the guy who I've tried to cut back on the print comic book habit, and
Jenny's reaction was amazing.
Like, Jenny's
meanwhile lack of desire. Like it's not like it's me trying to show some comparable level of restraint compared to like what I see in the world. Anyways, here's the guerrilla marketing. I didn't go to a lot of bookstores. I didn't look at fancy magazines at a fancy, the magazine. It's an art investment, right? It can cost a little bit more. It's quality. But here's the guerrilla piece. I would tell you that I encountered art magazines, and I would say 3 or 4 titles only through the comic book store. They randomly ordered a copy of another. I guarantee you I saw High Fructose before like anybody saw that magazine. And it was because there was something else to touch and see that was super cool at a comic book store. Yeah. And I think any of those little pieces, like people like us who are still going to that, I got juxtaposed there. I got like I would have grabbed Art Bar there because I just spent $20 on the Batman graphic novel. I'm like, this thing's $25. It looks like their hands have crafted it together. Jeez, let me buy this too. So, anyways, that's my thinking on that.
I noticed they had on that there's like a distribution that mostly deals in comic books, but I guess especially with that genre, like new contemporary pop surrealism art that they cover a lot of is like has a lot of parallels with, I'm sure, the comic book world, and those are both great art magazines.
Well, you see these weird crossovers, and it's still printed. It's like Penthouse Comics, right, with a centerfold. Like you see these. If like people are still gonna purchase it, and it's still gonna kind of sell out. So like. Talking about the feel of it, which we're immersed with, we're immersed with in Oregon, and we really love. Let me ask, like, just for like sheer like consistency of the show, like, ask a conceptual question because like we've been getting into all the conceptual questions, but I'm really interested. I've heard some of your thoughts about what is art, and I wanted to not ask it as formally as that because I've heard bits and pieces about it. But starting with you, Sarah, what do you think the role of art is like right now? I tend to ask it as like, is art just arting all the time? Or it's like, for me, in my head, 2025, like, is the role of art changed nowadays or recently? Or is it just arting?
I think, if you go back through all of the ages, art has always been a very important way of depicting the times that we're living in. Like, and you would think, I was like, meanwhile, we're talking, our cat is attacking my journal, which is probably a form of art.
We have a kitten, sorry.
We're going to get back to this. We have a cat back there, and we have 6 kittens that are how old?
2 weeks
old. Oh, my God.
No, how old? Yeah. You have to send pics.
Well,
Those been
they were moving a little bit earlier. It made
this whole time we've been talking because we're by the window and she loves the windows.
Hi, baby.
She's ripping everything on the desk apart during the interview. I'm trying not to. I was actually she was eating a plant here. I was like smacking her in the head, and she starts biting it. Like half the conversation.
People think interviews are just like straight up. They are showing up, but they're also not. Like, we also literally have 7 kittens in this room.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's a great energy for a room.
We adopted the cat and we adopted the kitten. Sarah, gonna prompt you back again.
Yeah. Sorry.
The cat, no, for all, it's the cat. Role of art nowadays.
Yeah, I think it's. I'm sure art has changed over the years because the world has changed over the years, but I think it's just as important and relevant as it was from its beginnings, because if you go back through all of the ages and generations, art has always been a tool to depict the times that we're living in, or to share, it's existed. And it used to be, sorry.
She's like, I'm sorry, the cat's like sliding under the laptop and hitting me now.
I'm just gonna.
I interrupted with 7 kittens behind us. It's totally fine. The cats are gonna. It's a cat-friendly show.
Here,
we're gonna send you this.
I'll take a picture to send you.
this little demon she's gonna throw the laptop off the stand. Okay, I'm sorry. She's by acknowledging her, we've. Yep.
But outside of that, I probably fully lost my train.
No, but the artist's role is to define the age that they're living in, right?
Yeah, and that's going to change over time, but it's going to always be just as important. And you'll see, like you know how important it is because you're seeing in this, especially recently, so much art getting censored, and it's a testament to its way of speaking to the people.
I told you, she's like actually.
So yeah, like
she's a psycho.
As far as art through changing through the times. I'm
sorry.
But yeah, and I know you do ask, like, I know you.
Okay, I'm going to put her in another room. She's like actually going to throw the laptop on the floor.
We're cool.
I think we got it. No. As far as that question, I know you ask, like, what is art? And we always say it's, okay. Sorry. Art is, like in the documentary, one of the, it's not in the trailer that you saw, but one of the artists, Mark Mack, he's like, art can be as simple as gardening. It could be moving some trash around. Like if you're creating something, that's art. It could be a way of living, or like a way that you're expressing yourself. Or there's so many forms of creativity, and you don't have to be like a world-class painter to be making art. There's so many ways that you can make art, and I think like that's like one of the most important parts of our existence. And one of my favorites, Alejandro Jodorowsky, said like when you like making art is the best way to realize yourself. And so like, and it can be in any form, from performance to literature to plants to anything. Like you can art is so many things, but I think it's so important.
Yeah. Coming from the skateboarding side of things, I think I've always really Bukowski has this whole, and Bukowski's problematic in some ways and prolific in other ways. But he had his poem about style is one of my favorite things ever. Yeah. And there's that 3rd or 4th line in where he says, to do a dangerous thing with style is art. And that's always really deeply resonated with me. And then on the other side of the spectrum there, as far as authors, is Vonnegut, who says that like just creating art shows you yourself. I'm paraphrasing, but he says like it shows you who you are, and it shows you your own soul. And I think those things, those are the quotes I think about when I think about what art is. But it's pretty in. I think that's,
I really appreciate that. I love both of the writers. Well, and the thing is, I want to tell you something about Bukowski. Yeah, sure, he's fucking problematic, but he's like,
Right.
he taps into a vein. Like I'm an addict. Like I haven't drank, sober from alcohol for 16 years. Like Bukowski's going to tap into something, and I fucking understand it. And like I don't know how to put it into words. He did, but like also laughing as fucking hard as you can imagine. Like when I read Post Office or like aspects of like Fat Code, like there's tragic shit in there. I'll tell you another thing finally about Bukowski, just for a little rant. My great friend Bung Kong Tuan taught me so much about Bukowski and taught me how not only it was okay, but it was highly recommended to read Bukowski. He was a refugee from the bombing in Southeast Asia, Laotian, and came to the United States, and just bombed to the United States and lived like out in Oregon, lived outside of Massachusetts. I met him going to grad school. But when you talk to somebody and they're talking about a writer who's a wild writer and saying, basically that dude saved my life.
Yeah.
Writing, but like, and I've heard that before. So for me, it's like, I think it can be cute and precious, like not to downgrade criticism of any sort when it comes to Bukowski, but I think it can be precious sometimes. And when you be like, okay, what about the vibe, like overall, where this book has saved somebody's life? And I don't get that testimony in the time. It doesn't matter what book it is. Like if the book did that, I'm like, But on that, Vonnegut does that a lot. He probably does that for himself, for me too. So like, there's a large connection of like books. And Jenny's drinking her coffee in the breakfast of.
Oh my God!
Oh yes,
that's in my top three. Jenny, that's in my top 3 books of all time, easily.
And it goes back to
Kilgore Trout.
To what Jenny said earlier, is that art saves lives. Like it's like you see that a lot too with like musicians and writers. Like people will find it and relate to it, and it helps them get through what they're getting through. And especially in this, like the times that we're living in, it's like our part, like when we said your friend for the end of the world, it's not like we want the world to end and we just want to dwell in doom and gloom, but it's like in an issue too, there's a little more of like some of the commentary of what's happening coming in, but it's like kind of meant to be in some ways a vacuum where it's like a space, a safe space where you can go and like relate to people that aren't the problem. And then, but also like document some of the art that's coming out. But yeah, I think overall it's important for us to be able to connect through art and build community through art.
Sarah, tell us, I want to make which over time should be obvious with the show. It's a very, very doom metal, very metal friendly show. And like, I feel like it'd be horrifically remiss not to ask you about your singing, work within metal. Speaking of saving lives, I'm a metal warrior like myself. I listen to a lot of different styles of music, but forgetting out the unexplainable. It's metal. Yeah. Sarah, tell us about like your metal stuff. I don't know how to ask you.
In the early 2000s, I started a band called Watch Me Burn, and it was a grindcore band, but we were kind of experimental. So my favorite description of us was avant grind. But that's super fast, like blast beat, hardcore, crazy grindcore. And over the years, I wanted to get more into like doom metal, something slow, like something you can actually sink your teeth into and rock out to. Grindcore is very like mathy, and it's really fun to play. But now my heart, as far as like vocally where I like to go, it's in doom metal, but definitely like witchy, Exorcist vibe vocals. But I will say, like, as far, like as just having another process of creativity, like when I go to band practice and like scream all that stuff out of my body, I feel like that's like my release, like that's my therapy, that's my church. And I do feel like when I go to metal shows, I've always said there's 3, now I'll have to think of the third, but there's 3 places in the world where I go and I feel like, I remembered the third. There's 3 things that when I'm doing, I feel like I'm completely present and I can kind of like forget all the BS that's going on. And one of them is when I'm playing metal. The second one was when I'm in the mountains snowboarding, and the third one's when I'm in the dark room, because you're just in this like little cave. But metal for me, like you go to a metal show and like that is one of the places too in the world where I feel like okay, these are my people. And you see like a good metal band and you see the kids like freaking out to it and like really passionate about it. And then those are the few moments where I'm like, okay, we're going to be okay. The kids are all right. Like it restores my faith in humanity to go to a good punk or metal show and see people get like really pumped up about it. And then I'm like, okay, like this is the good in the world. Like right here in this pocket, like it's very pure and authentic and raw. And like, I love having that in my life. And I'd say it's like hugely formative in my upbringing.
Yeah. And there is music stuff coming. We have had some setbacks, but we will be putting something out on the doom metal side of things. And I promise you, her voice and what we've been working on is so incredible. And there's points in rehearsals that we've had where I fuck up my bass lines because I'm just like watching her and I'm just like, holy shit, that sounds, and then I lose. So, but we have there's an ongoing project that's sort of been delayed over and over again. But speaking of metal, I will say one of my favorite things about issue 2 that's about to come out is we got amazing access to GWAR.
I saw that. I saw the preview for that. I was like, holy shit.
So my mom bought me a Thrasher magazine in November of 1990, and the cover is very unassuming, and it's a skateboard mag, and I think we bought it at like an Albertsons or Stater Brothers. Nice. And she gave me this magazine, and I opened it up, and the band they featured was GWAR, and there's this like a half-naked woman covered in blood and these monsters, and I was just like, as a horror fan my whole life, and my mom gave me that. My grandmother was like an avid Stephen King reader. I grew up with these like women who a really dark sense of what they look to for entertainment in the world. I just was like, I instantly knew I shouldn't have this thing that I was holding in like the backseat of a like, Ford Tempo or whatever we were in, and I was just like, and so got to interview Jizmac and Beefcake of GWAR in character. And so Sarah did this like with Gorman and Roger Gassman from Beyond the Streets, this really beautiful art like interview about how GWAR is this art collective of like film students and like these punks from that just created this thing that is such a big part of like the subculture and zeitgeist that we tap into. And then I got to just do an interview with them, and it's just like dick jokes and gore and blood and just the really lowbrow stupid shit that is perfect for me. So that was like really full circle. And the article is going to be called Art GWAR, which is, I love it. So it's very, very that's something metal kind of seeping its way into Art Bar. Naturally, it just kind of fell into our lap.
Because that's like one thing I didn't, when we were talking about all the genres we cover, we do have musicians in there, but it's like not a music magazine. It's usually musicians that have crossover into art world. So the first issue, like Nate No Face and his girlfriend Valerie J. Bauer, like she's a photographer. So it was about their collective work as a couple. And then issue 2, we have GWAR, who is an art collective, and then Nadia, who's from Pussy Riot.
Jenny, you and Sarah have very similar hand tattoos.
I know.
You guys have
nice.
Oh wow!
I've been thinking about it the whole time, and so
that's so cool.
Had to get it out of my brain.
Thank you. That's awesome. Great mind.
They're beautiful.
You had the artist, the tattoo artist, on Something Rather Than Nothing.
I have a favorite tattoo artist, Renee Barish, who has done most of my work so far. I should probably let some other artists use me, but so far she's my main.
I'd love to check.
She did this.
Her out.
Right.
Say again.
Oh, I'd love to check her out. I'm like a mishmash of a bunch of different.
Yeah, we'll send a profile over.
Sarah's blasted.
I love I started getting tattoos when I turned 40. I'm in my early 40s, 50s now, and more than half of my tattoos by my really good friend Sean Brown, is the lead singer of Dag Nasty and Swizz out of DC.
Oh, amazing!
The 90s DC underground, like
nice.
Yeah. So, wanted to ask you both. Listeners here been hearing us talk about Art Bar, the spirit around it, new magazine. Listeners, jump in, check out what's there. You're probably going to find something that's really going to connect to your mind. But both of you, tell us where to get the magazine, where to come into contact to your art and what excites you in video, etc.
As far as Art Bar goes, we have a website. It's artbarmagazine.com, and we have our little online shop, which is shop.artbarmagazine.com, but you can get to it through our website. We're on all the socials at Art Bar Mag. And we're in stores. We're in stores everywhere. And this second issue, it's expanding to Canada and Europe and UK also, but we needed an international. We need this international. It's called an ISSN, and we can't get it right now because the government shut down because it's through the Library of Congress. But we're also going to be in the UK. But yeah, the best way to support us is through subscribing, and we're on all socials at Art Bar Mag, and we're both, photographers and filmmakers. I have an account called Sawacide, SAWACIDE, and I have
on Instagram.
On Instagram, and I have a documentary called Passing Through that should be streaming in 2026.
And it is really, I like, not just saying this because I'm in love with her. It is really beautiful. Every time we screen at every festival, people have been so kind, and the discourse afterwards, it's like such a layered. We're both filmmakers, and I'm a huge Errol Morris person, and one of the films we looked at when she was in the post process was Errol Morris's Fast, Cheap, and Out of Control. You mentioned Philip Glass earlier, and anyway, we have our favorite Philip Glass stuff too. But again, my ADD is going to be a problem. But it's this sequence of vignettes of people who live in this town, who have lived there since before the economic and ecological disasters that happened to the town, and then the artists who've moved in to try to create new community there, and the way those things have interacted to create a completely new community. And despite just so many barriers and devastating loss after loss, really is like a hauntingly beautiful film. I'm really proud of this girl. So you got to watch that. It'll be out there.
Making a film right now that I helped on. It's a documentary about Zane Timpson called Assume That It All Matters.
Yeah.
And he's Curb Killer on Instagram.
Yeah.
And they're starting a skateboard league called PSL.
Yep.
They just had a event yesterday.
Yeah, so that's there's PSL Skateboarding is Professional Skateboarding League. I've been working in live broadcast and documentary filmmaking my whole life, and this thing kind of combines. I'm the showrunner for the league, and so there'll be a new season starting January 31st, and with it's the brainchild of this amazing professional skateboarder Mike Mo Capaldi, and what we're doing is essentially trying to create a league that uses skateboarding as a sport. And because right now skateboarding is bigger than it's ever been, but at the same time, somehow skateboarders are not making any money. They're not directly there. We're like, everyone is struggling this economy right now is really tough, but we're trying to create something that if you weren't a skateboarder and you tried to do this, it wouldn't make any sense. It would be really corny, but something that's accessible to a much wider audience than skateboarders. So if you like sports, if you like Tony Hawk Pro Skater or King of the Road or those types of things, if you like sports, this is something you can follow without having the really nuanced, nerdy knowledge that it takes to follow a typical skateboard contest. You can watch what's happening and understand who's winning and what needs to happen. You're going to learn about these people, these incredible people that are involved, and their personalities, it's something we've been working on for a couple of years that's finally about to launch that I'm really excited about. I think and then eventually our band will have something out there, but that's why there's many reasons why the band has sort of fallen to the wayside.
We lost 2 of our members, had to move out of LA, probably kind of due to economic doesn't matter. This part you can
we can cut the band part out. The point is that
my whole passion right now is Art Bar Magazine.
Yeah.
So that's like my nights and weekends, and all of our time is going into giving that like everything we have to.
Yeah. And as documentary filmmakers, we talked about the digital side of things, and obviously our focus has been on the analog print side and dealing with film and storytelling. But the entire year we've been working on Art Bar, and as we move into completing issue 3, as 2 is about to drop, we have been filming and creating and documenting the entire process with almost every artist and every story, and we're going to be rolling those out digitally. There'll be a YouTube, and so if you follow the website, we will have. There's quite a bit of there's a large backlog of video and documentary features and small and short form features that are going to be coming out that we're really proud of.
We have a ton of video. We just haven't had time to edit it. So there'll be a whole, like, the main thing was being able to have this video platform that goes with the magazine. So that will be coming soon.
Yeah. There's us 2 at the helm of Art Bar. And again, Sarah I could never do what she has done with this thing. And then we have,
it's us 2, but we have an amazing art director, Jason Culp, and our copy editor is Val and Lambert, and that's it. That's just us 3.
There's some writers that have come in as freelance to help with.
There's a lot of love and contribution in there right off the bat, so you'll just build off of that the way I see it, and talking about the collective. Part here.
So subscribe if you can, because we want to bring some more folks in, editors for the digital side, and that's what keeps the magazine alive, is direct support. I mean, obviously, second to that is an independently owned bookstore, and Barnes and Noble. If that's what's near you, go grab it, please. But yeah, that's the best way to support what we're doing and what we're most proud of right now.
It's my favorite project I've ever worked on. I do a lot of passion projects for my day job. I work in film, and I'm a camera person.
She's a director of photography.
But I do, for some reason, I like to torture myself with these self-funded passion projects, and done a lot of documentaries and just different little things. But I'd say, as far as things that we're starting on our own with no parents, this is our creation. Art Bar is my favorite thing that I've ever worked on.
Yeah, easily. And I would say, we're both in our 40s, and I think that both of us have had things in our lives we're proud of, but they've kind of, everything we're doing right now, it feels like this really
everything has led to this.
It makes a lot of sense. And so I feel like when I was in my 20s and 30s, and despite things that were working or not working, I always had this imposter syndrome, or this I'm not as far as I should be in my life. So if you're in that space and hearing this, then just know that man, this era, this phase we're in right now has been so fulfilling and beautiful. And there's no time limit for anything. Some people make movies in their 20s and they do these beautiful things that that there's no blueprint for how your life should go and for how your career should go or how your art should unfold. So be nice to yourself.
Right?
Yeah, thank you. Wow. Get in on Art Bar. Follow up conversations with Sarah and Ira in the directions of doom metal, further skateboarding videos, bombs. I've seen some of those downhill bombs in like San Francisco videos. Like I've been exposed to skateboarding in front of me and on video. It's thrilling to me. I like talking about how that's connected to what you're doing. And just really glad to meet you and talk to you and mix it up about this art stuff. And seriously too, like having the courage to like express yourself and have that kind of good energy. Like, I mean, I feel, speaking for myself, that times are as fucked up as anything I've seen in my life breathing here on this planet in this iteration. But hey, like I also see some like bright spots. I think it's like things feel super intense and it like, this really feels like fundamentally shitty. Like it really does. And then like on this other end being like, these kind of confluences or like what art's doing, like, and when art's saying like, fuck you, like this shit's fucked up in whatever way, like that's like, there's so much energy in that. And when you have a sensitivity, I feel like that's why it's good to connect with you and be like, shit, like we still got to do this art thing and probably twice as more if we can hold up. Right.
Yeah. It's more important now than it ever has been. I feel like,
And it was so good to meet you guys too. Like, thank you for putting out this podcast and talking to artists and having these conversations. I hope we continue staying in touch after this.
Absolutely. You should let us know when you're in Oregon.
We will be. Yeah. And also because his brother moved there. And also I hope you we didn't make the edit too hard.
I think if there's jump cuts, it's our fault.
No, it's like no, we wanted to throw everything into it, and I even set it up front too. Like just like there's different things to like get into, like just like even like the doom metal. Like I could tell you about Eric Manchester nonstop 3 hours straight right now. And be like, wow, that guy's like a doom theologian, philosopher. He looks like a Viking.
Nice.
He is he's an embodiment. And I forget last count if he had 2,000 or 3,000 doom metal CDs from around the world. And I'm like, we can open a museum or some shit. That's when I'm like, what's my next step? Doom metal, like CD museum. I don't know. That sounds reasonable.
I'm old enough to remember the like little listening centers in Tower Records where you could go and listen and you put the headphones on. That'd be amazing.
You said you used to work at a bookstore. I used to work at Tower Records in the late 90s for a while. That was and we carried magazines.
Did you like it?
I did. Like I was, in my my late teens, I ended up becoming their music buyer and their import buyer. So for my age at that time, that was an awesome job because I got every free promo CD that I wanted and got into like any show that I wanted. And back then I had the energy to go to 3-4 shows a week, where now I would never. But to have that job at that time and be like, yeah, I want to go to this show or I want this CD, like that was a great.
That was a really art scene, job. The sound, like in the scene, like hearing everything.
Discovered so much music working there that I might not have. Like I just had it was nice to have access to imports and like things that. Yeah, it was a good job. I wouldn't do it now, but that was a good job at the time.
Yeah, and you met Sean.
My friend, one of my record company reps was my friend Sean, who ended up co-founding this really great gallery called Think Space, which is in issue 1. It's like called 20 Years of Think Space, and she passed on from cancer, but like they're still just trying to like keep her memory alive through the gallery and all that. But I know her from back in the Tower Tower Records days,
Yeah.
pre gallery or any of that. Yeah, it was a good era, and it's been really useful in this whole magazine. Like, I know how distribution works, I know how buyers work, like all of that, so it kind of helped.
Which is amazing because I don't know how any of that shit works.
Yeah,
it's been fun to learn about.
Well, we're done recording like this whole
Yeah,
last
we're
few
just
minutes.
chit-chatting now.
This is Something Rather Than Nothing.